David with Beagles on Fire. We've been on this series on types of dogs and what we can learn from them, types of Beagles. And we talked about the walkie-talkie dog, and then we jumped over to stud dogs for Father's Day. And I hope each of y'all had a great Father's Day. I did. And actually got lunch today with my son for Father's Day. So kind of an extension of Father's Day. So that's good. But today we're going to talk about fast dogs. When walkie-talkies, we talked about that, how the need there is to slow down sometimes in life. And while it might not be the style of dog that most of us want to run, it is something to learn from it in our personal life. Now we'll talk about fast dogs. And you know, this seems to be a topic that just, I don't know, it gets crazy sometimes when people call. Some of the questions that you get when people call you, typically there's about 3 or 4 questions as a breeder that you get asked right off the bat. First of all, are your dogs registered? Second of all, what speed do they run? Third of all, one of the questions is, you know, are they trash broke? Are they, we've talked about those type dogs in the past. And then another question they'll ask is, can it jump and circle its own rabbit? That's some of the most common questions you get asked. And this speed thing seems to be, it's very important, I understand, but there's a lot of people that have taken it to, it just seems to me like they've got off focus on what the main part of it is. First of all, I'll just say this. The most important thing for a dog, he's got to please one person, and that's the person feeding him. If he's making that person happy, nothing else really matters. So when we have these situations where we're trying to figure out about a dog, you know, if you like the color, if you like the size, if you like the speed and all that. It really doesn't matter what somebody else thinks about that dog. It's what you think about it if it's in your kennel. So I'm not trying to make any of these videos to put anybody's dogs down or put any of my dogs above anything. I'm just simply trying to draw comparisons to what we can learn in life. But as I hear people talk about fast dogs, you know, everybody talks about fast, speed. And you got even field trial events, speed and drive. And it's all about who crosses first. All right, well, you know, I always tell people this when they ask me about my dogs, how fast are they? I say my dogs are upper medium. Some people say they're fast, but here's the thing for me. I played baseball growing up. And so I always like to compare speed to element of a person pitching in baseball. If all you talk about is speed and you don't bring anything else into the equation, it's really not an accurate deal. He said, what do you mean? Well, let's say that we were talking about your high school or your college team or whatever coming up, and you go, man, I'm going to tell you what, we have got a pitcher that can throw it 115 miles an hour. And you'll be like, what? They don't even have people in the pros can throw it that fast. 105 around in there is about as fast as, oh, this guy can throw it 115. He's got it, man. Okay, well, that alone doesn't mean he's any good. He has to have another element to that, and that's called control. If you don't have any control, speed doesn't make a hill of beans difference in what you're running. All you're going to do is you're going to have dogs that are going to blow up your races. So imagine a pitcher that can pitch 115 miles an hour, but he can only throw 1 out of 50 over the plate. Is that going to win you any ball games? No. That guy has no control. So therefore, you know, the biggest worry you got when you face a guy like that, if you're the batters, is he going to hit me, because that's going to hurt. In the dog world, we've got a lot of guys that are breeding for one thing only, and that's speed. I'm not knocking what somebody else is doing, but if you don't have any control in there, what's the point? You've got to have line control. Remember we talked about the people that wanted to have the walkie-talkie dogs. They took line control to an extreme. Remember, they barely move it along. So slow. It's like watching paint dry. Okay, well, by the same token, if you've got a dog that just gets a whiff and bam, he's gone, but he has no control, he didn't even know where he lost it. How many times have you seen certain dogs, they call them wind sprinters, is another word that they call fast dogs. But these dogs get out there and they're on the rabbit. They're on it. They've jumped it. Here goes the rabbit. The rabbit comes out and makes a simple 90-degree turn. but because they are geared for one thing only, and that is speed, they're going to go flying straight across when that rabbit made a simple turn left or right, 90-degree turn, and they go straight, barking wide open, 50, 75, sometimes even 100 yards out there. Now, when I see that, for me personally, I can't stand that. I do not like a dog that will outrun his nose, because when he outruns his nose, in my opinion, he's got speed, but it's worthless without control. And you look at our lives, and we get a lot of fast-paced things going on in our lives. And when we're out here just running wide open, if we don't have any control, we lose control of our own life over the speed and the hustle and bustle of life. And that's not a good trait to have either. Somewhere, it's like anything else. Somewhere in between. Now, I like to err on the side of something faster than slower. So I personally don't run a dead medium dog. I'm not knocking anybody who does. My dogs happen to be upper medium. But I like something that will not outrun his nose. When you watch the dogs that I raise, will they overrun a track? Yes. I believe any rabbit dog, unless you get down into the slower end, will overrun a track. But here's the thing. If a dog overruns the track 15 to 20 feet and shuts up, that's a dog that's running with their nose. They realize they don't have the track. Maybe the wind blows at 15 feet. I don't know. I'm not an expert on where the scent exactly ended. I just know when you're watching the dogs and you know the rabbit went somewhere, when they come across and they overrun that track, I want mine to shut up pretty quick. And you say, well, why? Why is that important? It's important because when they overrun that track, that's a point of loss. If it goes on very long, and that becomes the check area. So if they don't overrun it by much, they can come back and find the point of loss and go on with it again. Where you got that dog that my scenario that ran 50, 75, 100 yards out there, he has no idea where he lost it. And that describes us a lot. If we're out here just running wide open without a care in the world, with no control over anything we're doing in life, we get way past where we should have been. Way past where we should have been when we got off track in life. Got off track in our relationships with other people, with our wives, with our kids. We just keep on going because we're not running with a nose. We're not, and compare that with life, we're not running with control. If you have control and you're observant, then you're going to look around and go, wait a minute, I messed up right there, didn't I? See, a person that's centered on themselves, they just keep on going. I don't know what the problem is. I'm running. Well, they're not running the right thing. They're way off track, and they're way out there and have no idea where they lost it at. And so that's a very important thing. I want to read you something that I think fits these times today. I got to put on my eyes here. I'm getting old. Proverbs 6:16 through 19 says, there are 6 things the Lord hates. 7 are distasteful to him. In other words, he just has total disdain for them. Hates them. Haughty eyes. So what is that? That's somebody that thinks they're better than everybody else. They're always looking down on other people. A lying tongue. Hands that shed innocent blood. A heart that devises wicked schemes. Feet that are quick to rush into evil. A false witness who pours out lies. And a person who stirs up conflict in the community. If that doesn't describe the world we live in today, I don't know what does. We've got that one part where it says feet that are quick to run into evil. That's where I compared that real fast dog. They're quick to run, but are they running the right thing? Or are they just taking off track? And here's the problem with a dog that is out there running and overrunning the track and outrunning his nose. Remember, it's a pack. So if he's real fast, remember we talked about that lead dog? Some lead dogs are good. They're really good at leading the pack in the right direction. One of these super fast dogs that's outrunning his nose, if they can run it fast and keep the track going, so be it. Great. They're not outrunning their nose. But if they're a dog that's out here and they're leading the way, everybody follow me, I got the track, and they go straight when the rabbit turned right, that's a problem because you got all these dogs behind it that think that dog has the track. And what it does, it just blows your race up. And I hear of guys that have all these what they call rough style dogs. And I don't understand personally why they want to run a rough style dog if it's going to blow the race up. You know, if your races are lasting 5 minutes, 4 minutes all the time, and they keep blowing it up, I wouldn't want that type of dog. But that's just me. To each their own. Differences is what makes the world go round. I'm not trying to put anybody's dogs down. It's just not my style of dog. You know, they got a 1 to 10 scale that people use all the time. Well, what speed do yours run on a 1 to 10 scale? And I talked about that because it's almost like a bunch of high school boys in high school. You know, we all used to play this game. Maybe it's outdated. Maybe it's a thing of the past. But, you know, it'd be somebody sitting there and a girl would walk by and, you know, they'd be guys and they'd go, man, look at that. That's a 9. That's a 10. What are you talking about? That's a 6. It's all an opinion, okay? And some people don't want to be honest. They want to think they've really got a super fast dog until somebody else goes out with them and runs and shows them that they've got one that's faster. But somehow, in some people's minds, beagling is supposed to be more like drag racing. It's supposed to be whose dog can outrun the other one in the front. I have no problem with that. I get it. It's bragging rights. I get the fun of cutting up with somebody if your dog's in front of them and all that. But if your dog's constantly blowing up the race and not running it right, in my opinion, if you've got speed without control, you've got a mess. And by the same token, I just don't want to run a dog that has total control of the line, but no speed to it. You know, another way we can flip this in life's lessons is not only do you need to go out there and stay running the right thing as fast as you can run the right thing, get up and go do it. You know, we need to be real fast about making the right things happen. When you know there's something that's been laid on your heart to do, be fast about doing it. Now, once again, do it with some brains. You know, they call a dog that has brains that run with their nose, dog with brains. What do they mean when they say a dog with brains? They're talking about a dog that's smart enough to know to run with his nose and not overrun the track real bad. Smart enough to know when he has a rabbit under his nose, when he doesn't. By the same token, we need to have a plan when we go out to run. When we go out to run the right thing, we need to make sure that when we're trying to do the right thing, that we have thought it through a little bit. Don't just run out here carelessly, because if you do, you're going to be leading people the wrong way. So have some brains about you. You know, stay on the track. And at times, dogs have to switch gears. The sitting conditions have a lot to do with that. You know, the difference in a smart dog and a dog that's just built for one thing, you know, a dog that has 2 gears, one is on and off, he's wide open, and then he's just nothing. I don't like a dog like that. Sure, I like a dog with total 100% drive, but I do not like a dog that does not know how to slow down when he needs to based on sitting conditions. And, you know, sometimes we have to slow down when the conditions around us dictate that we've got to move at a little bit slower pace. You know, I love to drive the speed limit and then some most of the time. I've got a little bit of a heavy foot. I can't stand it when I get in traffic. But imagine if I was like that dog that knows only how to run fast with no brains. I'd just be running over everybody or running off in the ditch and trying to go around everybody and get stuck. That's just, you say, that's just stupid. Well, but that's the way a lot of us are. We don't slow down when we need to slow down, figure out situations. We need to really practice this with our mouths. We're quick to give an opinion without thinking about what we're saying. You know, a lot of wise people, when you ask them something, they may not answer you right then. They may take just a second to think about what they're fixing to say. That's a very wise person. That's somebody that's going to run as fast as they can with control. And a person that can control their tongue is an amazing person, because that's one of the hardest things to control. But that verse that I read, if that's not talking about today's time, we got people that are out thinking they're better than other people based on whatever that has to do with them. They lie like crazy. They have hands that shed innocent blood. And they also are trying to devise wicked schemes. They're quick to rush to evil. And they're bearing false witness toward one another. And then, of course, they're a person that stirs up conflict. The whole world is stirred up in conflict right now. It's a tough situation out there. But we that have the truth need to run with the right speed, but we need to keep it under control and not be wavering and not be sidetracked by other things that we might think are going on. You ever heard this saying, keep your nose to the grindstone? We need to keep our nose on the track that we need to run and run it as fast as we can to do the right thing. But we got to have the control. So I urge you to just try to keep under control, but do the right thing as fast as you can. I hope this has been beneficial, and I hope you'll share this if you got something out of it. And I hope you'll stick with us. We've got some more topics to talk about along with these style dogs. We've got at least 3 or 4 more in this series, maybe more. And then we've got some other stuff coming behind that. Thank y'all so much, and I appreciate all the views. Have a good day.